Hey guys, welcome to Black Kids White Coats. My name is Lillian and I'm here with Waymond. He's a second year pharmacy student at UIC. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Of course. Hello everyone, my name is Waymond. I'm a second year pharmacy student. I'm also a dual degree student at the University of Illinois, Chicago. I'm currently doing not only my PharmD, but I'm also doing my MBA, which is the Masters of Business Admin. And this is going to be tentatively a 5-year program, so I can talk a little bit about that if you want.
Okay, so today I brought you, or I'm interviewing you today because I really don't have any idea about how to get into the pharmacy school. I'm in medical school, so if you can tell me a little bit about the process of like how you got in, like maybe even going back to like high school or elementary school, you can just tell me a little bit more about like the mindset you set for yourself and when you decided that you wanted to go into pharmacy school.
Yeah, for sure. So my personal background, none of my family members are healthcare practitioners or anything like that. I came from a very, I would say typical Asian family household with them working as restaurant owners and stuff like that. Throughout high school, I went to high school at a Chicago public high school, Jones College Prep. Really loved that school. And then I went to UIC for my undergrad. I did my BS in biology and I completed in spring 2016. The first time I really found out that I wanted to do pharmacy was, I would say, towards the end of high school.
Okay.
It was because I worked at Walgreens. I initially started out as a cashier.
Okay.
And then after I started getting close to the people I worked there, and I learned that my pharmacy manager offered me a job as a technician there. And then once I started working in the pharmacy, I'm like, hey, this is actually something really cool that I would love to do possibly for the rest of my life as a career, you know? And yeah.
So like so once you got into undergrad, you did biology, and then, so what is the process going? I know there's a PCAT, but like what classes do you have to take, all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, sure. So typically with PharmD students, or the students that want to go into the PharmD route, there is the choice of 2 years or 4 years for undergrad. Most students go for 4 years now because a lot of students are wanting to get a pharmacy degree. So a lot of the pharmacy schools are expecting their applicants to be more competitive in a sense, so that they have their bachelor's degree prior to matriculating into the pharmacy school. There are still some two year undergrad students, but that's being phased out.
Yeah. Okay.
So in undergrad, you are gonna want to look to complete your pharmacy school's prerequisites, and that's readily available throughout whatever pharmacy school. You just go on their website and look through their prerequisites. Most of them include like Gen Chem, Orgo, your basic.
How
so
was
you
Orgo?
It was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough, but I made it through.
You made it through.
There's Orgo. There's your basic sciences. They also at UIC they also require psych. Psych course,
that's interesting.
Communications, social sciences, and anatomy. I don't remember too much.
Really?
Yeah, there's 2 semesters of anatomy required. So I know UIC's prerequisites is comparably a little bit larger than most of the pharmacy schools, but that's for a good reason though, because most applicants, they have a pretty strong GPA. I would aim for around like a 3.4 or 3.5. Most of them, I think last year's average was like around a 3.5.
Is this your normal? This
is your cumulative GPA.
Okay.
I think the science GPA was 3.6, close around.
Okay, so it's a little higher. Yeah.
So it's it's pretty high, yeah. And then what you want to do is you want to have that. I know some students, they also have a pretty good like well-rounded background. So some of them have like a couple years of experience working at a pharmacy or just working in general. That really does bring a lot of credibility to your profile. Some students also have some research backgrounds, like working in the lab, volunteering. That always looks pretty good. Volunteering in general is also a great thing, I would say. Leadership positions, that's a big one.
Positions, yeah.
The fact that you can show that you are a leader or a potential leader, that's gonna go loads for your applicant profile.
Yeah.
And then after that, once you have like a somewhat solid profile, most students nowadays, they apply around their 3rd year. Well, at least start prepping in 3rd year. You start studying for their PCAT. PCAT, you can find resources readily available online. You can just look up PCAT, study tips, study tools. It's going to help you a long way. So just make sure you study ahead of time. I would say give a couple months, and then just make sure you sign up for an exam date. Do well on it, obviously.
Do people take gap years? I know, like in medical school, like it's becoming more popular to take gap years. I don't know how it is in pharmacy school.
Good question. Yeah. I would say some people do. I would say it's not as common as medical school because medical school is also very competitive. I would say it's even more competitive than pharmacy school. But nonetheless, there are still people who take gap years.
Right.
Actually, in my cohort, the 2020 class, we have a student that's around 40. I would say 40 years old. Okay. So that's a pretty big gap year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
Do you know what he did like before that?
He completed his Ph.D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he had a Ph.D. prior to going into PharmD. And for those of you who don't know, Ph.D. stands for Doctor of Philosophy, which is kind of like having a very concentrated knowledge in a very specific area, which in his case was in microbiology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then he decided he wanted to go into pharm school, and then he was like, oh, hey, loved it here.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, so after that, I mean, bringing it back to the previous question, you want to make sure you take the PCAT, do well on it, and then start applying. There's a primary application for the pharmacy, they call it PCAS.
Okay.
Very similar to
AMCAS. Yeah, similar.
So PCAS, you want to submit the primary in time. Always do things on time.
On time. So what is on time?
On time, I would say at least a couple months. So like once they release the primary application date, you want to be ready to submit that thing within like 1 to 2 weeks of that opening date.
Okay, so you gotta be ready.
Exactly.
I think that's pretty similar to like the medical school.
Exactly, because at the school, all the schools, they do a rolling-based program. They accept students on a rolling basis.
Right.
The later you are in the acceptance, the chances of you getting accepted are significantly decreased.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar to medical school.
Yep. So once you hear back, most schools get back to you relatively quickly. You want to submit your secondary applications, and then after your secondary application goes through, it depends on the school how quickly they work. But once after the secondary, they'll get back to you whether you've been moved into the next stage or you've pretty much been waitlisted or denied.
Okay.
If you're accepted, they're gonna set up an interview date with you where you go into interview. Most schools nowadays they do what do they call it? An MMI interview.
Yes. The multiple mini interviews.
Multiple mini interviews. So it's so for those of you who aren't that great of an interviewer, instead of it being like a one-on-one, very formal, like shake your hand, be very nervous kind of thing, you get multiple mini interviews.
Yeah.
So that's where you have essentially, I think I had a whole bunch of interviewers. You just knock on the door, you go in, and then you have a scenario based. Well, on the very first one, don't worry, you can always take a deep breath. Take a step back because each interview is going to be very different. So it's like getting a first chance to introduce yourself multiple times.
Yeah, I think it could be up to like 8 times.
Depending on the school.
Depending on the school. Yeah, it's similar to like medical school as well. They have like it could be like ethics scenarios, or it could just be like just talk about yourself, all of that stuff. There's like opportunity for many questions during the multiple mini interviews. So that's something to get ready for if you are in the application process.
Yeah. So with those interviews, I think my best tip for preparing for those is just be yourself. Just know that the interviewers there are faculty and they don't expect like you to be like a superhuman where you know everything.
Right.
Like, you're a perfect person. Everybody has their flaws and everybody has their advantages. Again, be yourself. Show that you really want to go into pharmacy school or medical school. And then just go over your achievements, your resume and stuff.
Right.
Just know yourself.
Just know yes, it's really important to know yourself.
Yes, know yourself. You'd be surprised at how many people don't know themselves.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that interview, hopefully they get back to you and they'll give you an acceptance. And that's where every school does